Hi guys, hello everyone. So today we've got our new Year 1 Maths New Learning lesson, Lesson 8, and we're going to be looking at time again, but we're going to be looking at time vocabulary. What does that mean, vocabulary? Have you got any ideas? Have a chat in class or have a chat with your parents or whoever you're with. Vocabulary means words, so we're going to be looking at time words. Now, we have done a bit of this before in our English lessons, so I think you're going to be experts. Good luck, guys. Okay, children, so for activity 1, you can download this from the website or you can just look at the screen and copy it down. What I'd like you to do is read through the slide, or I'll read through it with you in a minute, and I want you to put in time order the things the boy did. So I want you to put what did he do first at the top, okay, what he did first, okay, so earliest, and then put it in order down to what he did last, latest. Okay, I'm going to read it to you now in case you're doing it on your own, and if you want to you could write it out in order or you could just say it to your parents or say it in your head. So let's have a look. It says Ravi wrote down things that he did yesterday evening. It says at 5 o'clock I played with my toys. 6 o'clock I read some stories. 7:30 I did my homework. 8 o'clock I got ready for bed. 7 o'clock I watched TV. 6:30 I had a bath. 8:30 I went to sleep. This is all in the wrong order, children, and that's why I need you to put it into the right order for me, starting with what Ravi did first, and that would be the earliest because it's an earlier time, okay, and then what he put it in order, okay, what he did, and then finally what he did last. What did he do latest? Okay, and also, children, what you could do is you could discuss with your teacher or whoever you're doing this activity with, how do you know that the time does say 5 o'clock if you look at the clock? How do you know that the clock does say 7:30? Good luck, guys. Okay, children, so in case you're not doing this at school and you're doing it on your own, we know that let me get my pen. We know that this clock here says 5 o'clock because the long minute hand is pointing at the 12, and that means it is 0 minutes, it is o'clock. And because the little hour hand is pointing at 5, that means it's 5 o'clock. And if we look at 7:30 here, as my arrow, we know that this is 7:30 because the minute hand, the red hand, the long hand, is gone half the way around the clock. That's 30 minutes, half the way around the clock. Okay, and that means it's 7:30. And we know it's 7:30 because the hour hand is between the 7 and the 8, so it's past 7, 7:30. Okay, guys, have a go at doing the activity, and we'll have a look and see if you put it in the correct time order. Off you go. Hey, guys, how did that activity go? Now that you've put it in order, or you've said it in order, can you think of some time words we could use to describe the order? Think of the time words we may have used in English, okay, when we used time conjunctions and it told us when something happened, okay? Let's have a look at the order that I put in and see if you matched it. And we'll have a look and have a look at the time words that I used, okay? Right, so I've put first because this is the first thing that we know that Ravi did. So first, at 5 o'clock in the evening, he played with his toys. Now I know that's first because 5 was the smallest number and it's the earliest time. 5 comes before 6, it comes before 6:30, it comes before 7. So this is the first thing that Ravi did. What time word could we use to say what he did next? We could use second. So second, this means the number 2, the second thing that Ravi did, is at 6 o'clock in the evening he read some stories. What time word could we use next? What time word could we use next to describe what he did? We've had first, second, third. So this is the third thing. And he did this at 6:30. And 6:30 is after 6 o'clock. It's 30 minutes later than 6 o'clock. It's a later time. Okay, because the big minute hand has gone half the way round the clock. So the third thing that Ravi did is at 6:30 in the evening, he had a bath. Oh, did that a bit quick. Fourth. I think you're getting the idea. So fourth, okay, at 7 o'clock, because 7 o'clock is after 6:30, it's later than 6:30. Fourth, at 7 o'clock in the evening, he watched TV. What could our next time word be? We've had first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Fifth, at 7:30, Ravi did his homework. And we know that 7:30 is later than 7:30 is later than 7 o'clock because the minute hand, the big red hand, has passed 7 o'clock. It's gone round the clock. It's gone 30 minutes past, so it's later. So we've had fifth. The next will be sixth. Okay, and sixth, we've got 8 o'clock. Now 8 is a higher number than 7. Okay, so we know that it must be later. It comes after 7:30. It's actually another 30 minutes because you have to go the other half the way round the clock. So sixth, Ravi got ready for bed. What did Ravi do at the end? What time word could we use to say what he did at the end? Yeah, we could have finally, lastly, or we could say seventhly. Okay, so finally, at 8:30, because that is the latest time, Ravi went to sleep. I bet you did fantastic at that, children. Well done. Okay, children, so it's time for activity 2 now. And you can download this from the website, or you can write it out in your book, or go through it with an adult on screen. Okay, now we need to read the sheet really carefully so we know what we need to do. So I'm going to read it to you carefully. This is what Elliot does on a Saturday. Let's have a look what it says. What time do we have on this first clock? Let me get my pen so we know. On this clock, the long hand is pointing at the 12, so that means it's o'clock, and the hour hand, the short hand's at 9. Oh, so at 9 o'clock, Elliot wakes up. Okay, so that's what he does at 9 o'clock. Oh, right, let's look at the next clock. Now, the long hands, the long minute hand, has gone half the way round the clock, so that must mean it's past. Let's look where the hour hand is. The little hour hand is between the 10 and 11. Because it's after the 10, we'd say 10:30. So at 10:30, he cleans his room. Oh, the next clock, oh, we know what this is. That's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, he plays football. Let's look at the last one. Oh, look, the big long hour hand, not hour hand, sorry, the big long minute hand has gone half the way round the clock. It's gone 30 minutes round the clock. So that means it's past. And it's between the hour hand, the little hand, is between the 4 and the 5, which means it's 4:30. He goes on a family outing. So let's have a look at the questions, guys. The first question says, what was Elliot doing at? Let's have a look at the clock. 2 o'clock. Okay, guys, you can have a go. If you've got the sheet, you can write it in. If not, have a look. Have a careful look, and you can say what was Elliot doing at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to, because I can see that this clock says 2 o'clock, I'm going to look for another clock that says exactly the same. Oh, look, this one is 2 o'clock. It's the same, isn't it? The hands are in the same position. Oh, and he plays football. So at 2 o'clock, he was playing football. Right, the next question says, what did Elliot do after waking up? After waking up. If you do something after something else, you do it later, don't you? You do it next. So what comes after him waking up? Let's have a look. So here he is waking up. Get my pen again. He's waking up. So what comes next? Oh, the next thing after waking up, he cleans his room. Okay, that's what he did afterwards. That was the next thing he did. Right, let's look at C. What did Elliot do before going on his family outing? Before. You do something before something else, means you've already done it, doesn't it? Okay, so if you've done it before, so we want to look at what he did before he went on his family outing. Here's his family outing, and before that, oh, look at that. He was playing football. He played football. Let's look at the last one. Elliot cleaned his room at. Okay, let's see if we can find. There's the picture of him cleaning his room. And let's look at the clock. Now we know that the big, long minute hand is on the 6. That means it's gone half the way around the clock. So it must be half past. So it's half past. Oh, 10. The hour hand's after the 10. Half past 10. So we could write it like, we could say half past 10, or we can write it as 10:30, because the minute hand has gone 30 minutes round the clock. And it says he's something next. Okay, so he cleaned his room. It says Elliot cleaned his room at 10:30. He's something next. What did he do? Yeah, look, here he is. He cleans his room. He plays football next. Well done, guys. Okay, children, so here's activity 3. And again, you can print it off if you want to do it at home, or if you'll be doing it in school. Or if you're doing it with the screen, you can do it. You can say the answers. So at the top, we've got some more time vocabulary. And vocabulary means words. We've got more time words. Let's have a look at the time words that we've got. We've got before, after, first, next, yesterday, today, tomorrow morning, afternoon, evening. So they're all time words because they are telling us when something was happening, or when. So they call them time words, time vocabulary. Right, so we need to finish the sentences. Okay, we need to finish the sentences. Right, so let's have a look at number 1. Number 1 says, something, I have my lunch, I wash my hands. Something, I have my lunch, I wash my hands. What would work? Could we say, after I have my lunch, I wash my hands? And that wouldn't be very sensible, would it? We need to say before, because we always wash our hands before. So before I have my lunch, I wash my hands. So number 2, I won the race because I came, that's easy, I came first. Number 3, oh, this is an easy one as well. I go to bed do I go to bed in the morning? No. I go to bed in the evening, because that means later at night, in the evening. Number 4, in the something, I eat my breakfast. Would I say, in the yesterday, I eat my breakfast? That doesn't make sense. In the first, I eat my breakfast? No. I eat my breakfast in the morning. In the morning, I eat my breakfast. Let's look at the next one. We drink our cartons of milk in the... Well, we've used the only one. We've used evening and morning, so we must be... Oh. What have I done there? Sorry, guys, we'll come back to that one in a minute. So number 6, we have pudding after our lunch. Yes, I hope you do have your pudding after your lunch. That means later. Next. Let's look at number 7. Today, it is Wednesday. Something, it was Tuesday. Well, Tuesday comes before Wednesday. So it must be, today is Wednesday. Yesterday, it was Tuesday. Tomorrow, it will be Thursday. And now we can go back to number 5. We drink our cartons of milk in the afternoon, because we'd already used evening and morning. And children, you can have a go now at finishing these sentences with what you do. So it says, before school, I put on my school uniform. And I remembered my full stop for a proper sentence. After school, so that means later than school, when school's finished, After school, I play at the park with my friends. Okay, guys, so let's have a look at this one. We've got a picture of two boys in a maths lesson, and then a picture of a group of children singing a song. And it says down here, which one will take a minute? Which one will take an hour? Well, what's a minute? How long is a minute? I wonder if you could do that. If you're in school, ask your teacher to get a timer and you can see how long a minute is. If you're at home, see if your parents have got a timer they can use. See how long a minute is. Well, a minute, children, is 60 seconds. 60 seconds in a minute. A minute's quite a short space of time. It's longer. A minute is longer than a second because there are 60 seconds in a minute. Now, an hour, I think you probably know this. How long is an hour? An hour is a lot longer than a minute because there are 60 minutes in an hour. 60 minutes in an hour. So let's have a think, guys. What thing would take us a minute to do? Would a maths lesson take us a minute? Can we do our maths lesson in 60 seconds, in a minute? Or could we sing a song in a minute? Or would we sing a song for a whole hour, for 60 minutes? No. So singing a song we can do in a minute because it's a small activity, only takes a minute. And a maths lesson, we usually have an hour for our maths lesson. So we spend 60 minutes, which is an hour, on our maths lesson. So a minute is a shorter amount of time than an hour. Okay? Okay, guys, so this is an activity you can do in your classrooms or at home. Okay, I would like you to make a cube tower that is 10 cubes tall in a race against your learning partner or your parents or your brother and sister. Okay, if you haven't got cubes, see what you've got. Maybe you've got Lego at home and you could use 10, you have to make it 10 Lego bricks tall. Okay, and you need to use some time vocabulary. I want to know who was quicker, who was slowest. Okay, maybe if you do it with more than one person, you could use some more time vocabulary. Then have a look. How long do you think it took you to do that? How long did it take your partner? If you're at school or at home, you might be able to get a stopwatch and time how long it took you. This is another mini activity you can do, guys, and I think you'll have fun doing this at school, especially if the weather's nice. I want you to go out for some races, and you're going to see who was quicker. Now, quicker means you get a smaller amount of time, and who was slowest, and that means that they took the longest amount of time. Okay, and how long do you think the races took? And again, you could time yourselves to see. And if you did this as a class, you could put yourselves in time order. So we might say, if all the teachers had a race and I was the quickest, Mrs. Giles was the quickest, she came first. Miss Stevens came second in the race, so she was next. Third in the race was Miss Daria. And then maybe the last person is the slowest, so the slowest person in the race maybe was Mrs. Clements. Who knows? Okay, guys, so let's have a look at this. So we've got a clock on our picture. See if you can work out for me what time is the clock showing. I bet you've done it. So it says both Lulu and Sam left their homes at 8 o'clock in the morning. We know that clock is showing 8 o'clock because the big long minute hand is pointing at the 12, which means o'clock, and the little short hour hand is pointing at the 8, and that means it's 8 o'clock. So they both left their homes at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now it says that Lulu arrived in school at 8:30, and we can see that on the clock. So it took her, if I get my pen, she started at 8 o'clock and she spent 30 minutes. That's half an hour. She spent 30 minutes, half an hour, going to school. That's how long it took her. Let's look at Sam. Now, Sam, he arrived at school at 9 o'clock. Now, remember, he started at 8 o'clock, so he had to go all the way round the clock. He had to go all the way round the clock. Children, could you discuss who arrived at school first Who arrived at school quicker? Who arrived at school last and was slowest at getting to school? Have a chat. Let's have a look, guys. Now, you've probably realised Lulu arrived in school earlier than Sam did. She arrived quicker than Sam because it says 8:30, and 8 is earlier than 9. Even if it's 8:30, it's earlier than 9. So we'd say that she arrived earlier. She arrived before Sam. She was quicker than Sam. Okay, so that means that Sam arrived in school later than Lulu did. He arrived in school later. He was a lot slower than Lulu. Okay, guys, this is the final activity we're going to do today. I hope you've learned a lot about time vocabulary. It's been a really nice lesson. I bet you've enjoyed doing this at school or at home. So let's have a look what it says. It says, and we're going to do this as a class together or in front of the screen. Fill in the blanks with seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks. Well, we know that a second is less time than a minute. Okay, because 60 seconds make a minute. Or we know that a minute is less than an hour because there are 60 minutes in an hour. Now, do you know how many hours there are in one day? There are 24 hours in a day. So an hour is less than a day because there are 24 hours in a day. And this is easy. How many days are there in a week? There are 7 days in a week. So we can start here. We're starting with seconds is the least amount of time, and we go on to weeks, and that's the most amount. Let's look at number 1. A train ride from one side of London to the other takes about 30 weeks. Is that how long it takes to get to London? Well, that would be a disaster because my dad works in London. Okay, and it certainly doesn't take him 30 weeks to get to London. 30 weeks to get to London. It doesn't take him 30 seconds either. It takes him longer than that to leave the front door. 30 hours. Well, that would mean it takes him more than a whole day to get to school. Sorry, to get to work. Yeah, it's 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. Okay, to get from one side of London to the other side. Right, number 2. I sleep for about 8 seconds each day. No. Do I sleep for about 8 days each day? No. We sleep for about 8 hours each day. Let's look at number 3. I take about 5 something to walk from one part of the room to another. Could you ever go at that, guys? Maybe you could stay at one end of the room, walk to the other end. Did it take you 5 minutes to do that? 5 hours? No. It's about 5 seconds, isn't it? Only about 5 seconds. It may not have been exactly 5 seconds, but we can estimate. That means we can guess that it'll be seconds rather than 5 minutes. Right, let's look at the next words that we've been given. We've been given slower, later, quicker, earlier. Let's look at the first one then. The leopard is something than the deer it is chasing. The leopard is something than the deer it is chasing. The leopard is slower than the deer it is chasing. Leopards aren't slower. The leopard is earlier than the deer it is chasing. That doesn't make any sense at all. Leopards. The leopard is quicker than the deer it is chasing, because we know that leopards are a lot quicker. Let's look at the next one. Yesterday I got home at 4 o'clock. Today I got home at 3 o'clock. I got home earlier today. That means I got home 1 hour earlier because there's one hour between 4 and 3 o'clock. So I got home earlier today. The tortoise was something than the hare, but it won the race in the end. For we know that the tortoise was slower than the hare, but it won the race in the end. It says the cartoon started at 7 o'clock, which is something than its usual time of 6 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock, that's later than 6 o'clock. Oh, we've got that word. Yes. The cartoon started at 7 o'clock, which is later than its usual time of 6 o'clock. We did it, guys. Well done. I hope you've learned some time vocabulary, and you'll be able to practice it at home and show off to your family and friends. All right, guys, see you next week. Bye.